a simple and interesting topic. Before that, let me ask you a question. What is this? Yes, it's a modern periodic table. Try to recall the names of some elements in our modern periodic table. Hydrogen, oxygen, aluminium, copper, gold. Yes, you have done a great work. They are all different elements in our periodic table. But let me ask you, can you tell the names of some metals in our periodic table? Gold, iron, aluminium. Yes, there's a long list of metals in our periodic table. But let me ask you another question. Why did you tell they are metals? They are hard? Okay, they are solids? Before getting into a complete conclusion, today we will be learning about the properties of metals, physical properties of metals, and by the end of this video, you will be able to learn about so many physical properties about metals. So let's begin our module. The first property of metal is metals are malleable. Is the term new to you? But let me show you some image. Aluminium foil. Yes, what is the base of an aluminium foil? It's of course aluminium metal. The property is aluminium metal can be beaten to thin sheet when hammered strongly. So the property of metals by which they can be beaten to thin sheets by hammering is known as malleability. This biryani cover, these sweet wrappers, all are possible because metals are malleable.
Can't we use sheets or foils made of non-metals like sulfur or coal?
The answer lies in a property which is characteristic of metals. Only metals can be beaten into thin sheets to make foil or sheet. This property is known as malleability.
So, first property of metal is metals are malleable. The property of metal we are going to learn is metals are ductile. Look at this image. Are you familiar with these incandescent bulbs? Even if not, look closely to the filament of this bulb. What are they made of? They are made of tungsten. And you can see the tungsten as thin wire. This property of metal by which they can be drawn to thin wire is known as ductility. So tungsten is made use in the filament of the bulb because it is ductile. So the second property of metal we have learned is ductility.
The metallic wires you see on the roadsides are the carrier of electricity. These wires are usually made of metals like copper and aluminium. But why only metallic wires? Can't we use non-metallic wires? Only metals can be drawn into wires. This property is known as ductility and the metals are said to be ductile.
Ductility is a property of metal by which they can be drawn to thin wires. And you know, platinum is the most ductile metal. And also remember, 1 gram of gold can be drawn to a wire of a length 2 km. Isn't that too amazing? So we have discussed two properties about metals. Now let me ask you another question. Are metals good conductors of heat and electricity? You have got any confusion? Okay, now we can see an activity in our kitchen and an experiment. After that, please tell me if metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. Let's get into the activity.
When your mom cooks food in a metallic pot in the kitchen, when cooking, when she touches this pot with open hand, her hand gets burnt. Why this happens? Metals are good conductors of heat. When you cook food in an insulator pot, no one is injured. Electrical conductivity can be explained with the help of the following activity. Set up our simple electric circuit as shown here. Hold a piece of copper metal with the help of crocodile clips between the terminals A and B. The bulb glows. Repeat the experiment with a piece each of iron and magnesium. Take other metals as your choice, one by one. You will observe that bulb glows in each case, but the brightness varies. Thus, we can conclude that metals are good conductors of electricity.
From these activities, we are able to conclude that metals are a good conductor of heat and electricity. Silver is the best conductor of electricity, but we can see most of electric wires are made of copper and aluminium. That's because they are cost efficient and also good conductors. So now let's look to another property of metal. This gold necklace looks very shiny, and this aluminium spoon also shines. Even the freshly cut surface of sodium, iron and copper shines. We can conclude that metals have a property to have shiny surfaces, and that property of metals to have shiny surface is known as luster. And this property makes it more used in the field of jewelry making. Did you hear the sound from the bell? Yeah, and these guitars are really beautiful instruments, right? So what do you think are responsible for producing this ringing sound from a bell and the guitar string? These metals have the property of producing a ringing sound, and that property of metals by which they produce a ringing sound is known as sonority. So, the ringing sound from a bell, the toast coins, when falls to the floor, have the click sound, and the guitar and many string instruments produce a beautiful sound, all because metals possess the property of sonority. Are metals really hard? Metals are usually hard, but there are some exceptions. A piece of sodium can be cut with a blade. Gallium and cesium are also soft metals. Lithium, potassium are also very soft and cut easily with a knife. So generally, metals are hard. Next question is whether all metals are in solid state. The answer is no. Metals are generally solids, but mercury is a metal which is liquid at room temperature. Even if metals are hard, not all metals are equally hard. Hardness varies from metal to metal. Moving to the next property of metals. Metals generally melt at high temperatures and possess high density. However, metals like gallium, cesium and mercury melt at low temperatures. Metals like lithium, sodium and potassium are low density metals. But we can conclude that generally metals have high melting point and high density. We have come across many physical properties of metals. Wasn't it really interesting? Right, it was very interesting, and moreover, I hope you have encountered many situations where these properties are applied to make the world really beautiful. Now, try to recall the properties of metals we have learned. Malleability, the property of metal to form tin sheet. Ductility, the property of metal to form thin wires. Metals are good conductors of heat. They are good conductors of electricity. The property of metal to form shiny surface known as metallic luster. The property of metal to produce sound known as sonority. They have high melting point, high density, and generally metals are hard and they are solids. This is the end of our video. I hope the topic is clear to you. Thank you.